helicopter, I'm not gonna lie, that was for me. I was like, that is some dope right there.
Please stand and welcome to the stage, Elena Cardone.
This is an opportunity for us to be around powerful women and to have financial literacy for everyone, to help everyone come up. How many people have met someone in here just at this event that potentially y'all could collaborate with in the future? Unbelievable! I've been looking for a long time to have power player women in my life.
10X is not an idea, it's a way of life, and it's how you were born.
Data is accessible. Any business that you're in, you should study your main competitor and know the data.
I don't say it's my time. I say it's my turn. So it's my turn. It's my turn.
I think I can speak for all of the women here saying that we have your back and we have your best interest in mind, and we want to see you succeed and reach your goals and your dreams and win and make others win, so there's more love in the world than there is hate, because you're not hating when you're loving and you're not hating when you're winning. Salute and thank you all so very much.
Welcome to the Top Real Estate Influencers podcast with your host, Mario Hurley, and myself, Alex Montalenti. And today we have the honor of having a very special guest, a woman I look up to, an inspiration, somebody I've known for several years. Our kids went to school together. I've seen her expand and grow, the family they're building, the relationship they have with each other, Grant and Elena. And Elena is now in the real estate industry, exploding with EXP. I'm excited to have you on the show. I can't believe you're here. It's been quite a journey to get you here, but let's do this. This is going to be an awesome episode.
It's so amazing to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. Yes, the feelings are mutual about you and your family as well. And thanks for not giving up on me. I'm so happy to be here today.
That's awesome.
Absolutely, Elena. So welcome aboard. I was super excited about this podcast with you today because I've done a lot of research on your past, videos you've done all over the web, your social media. Many people in our team, actually in our organization, they're crazy about you. And I will share later in our podcast how we had such a fun, little adventure in Vegas. I don't know if you'll recall, but I'll bring it up later. But I want to get started with some of my questions. One of the questions I have for you, and I put this together in a way that I could really say it in an intelligent way. Who influenced you, and who did you learn from?
Well, interestingly enough, I have to say Grant Cardone has been such a huge inspiration and a mentor for me for many, many years. When I first met him, I had a completely different mindset. Now, a lot of it came in regards to finances, business. I have been completely influenced by his mind and his systems and processes that I had never known before. So he can take 100% credit in that area. Another area and how he influenced me was just my own self having to confront certain things in life that he didn't necessarily influence me directly, but indirectly. Like some of my life's biggest shifts have been with me having to confront myself. Like, for instance, when I first met him, I thought I had to be the strong, powerful, independent woman, do everything on my own, never depend on a man for anything. That was ingrained in me. So the first 4-ish, 5-ish years of our marriage, there was a conflict there. I was vying for this power position. I'm this woman. You're not going to tell me what to do. So even though we still had a good, fair, decent relationship, it wasn't what it is today, because that was, going on for me. And then having to, he didn't then say, learn from me, and here's all the systems, where I was like, you're right. No, it was being forced and having to confront issues and situations that then got me to question my own self. Like, well, where did that come from? And why can't I depend on a man, especially if I'm married to him and we're supposed to be, going towards this life thing together? Like, and then I had to make decisions for myself, like, okay, I'm going to ignore every, imagined feminist voice that went off in my head that was going to, persecute me for even trading in my acting career in order to trade up for this thing called support my man and build an empire together. I had to ignore all the voices that told me that was a very bad idea and do it anyway. So that shifted me. Then another, my spiritual life coach is Hubbard. I've been studying his material since 2000. I'm also, we don't have to go down this big road, but I'm also Catholic. So my faith-based religion is Catholicism, but my applied religion, because Scientology, what I study is an applied religion. So I was able to have courses there that I couldn't take with my Catholic faith-based religion. So I was able to take courses like how to overcome ups and downs in life, a communication course. I took 5 financial courses. I took, personal values and integrity, how to confront and shatter suppression. I mean, I've taken hundreds of courses there that you actually then get the data and apply it to life and then change the trajectory of your life. So those are the 2 most, I would say, most significant influential people in my life, other than my parents, of course.
That's fantastic. And it sounds like, I would say, they must have been very kind and generous with you, that you didn't think this is a bad idea. I don't like this way I feel around these people, but instead you're like, I like this. Maybe I should give it a shot, rather than sticking with what I thought was the way to go in life.
Yes.
See, that's generous, because I know many times people have asked you, like, isn't it nice that a lot of men, they say, you should be like Grant Cardone to me. I mean, you should be like Elena is to Grant Cardone. You should be that kind of a woman. But the reality is that also the man has to show up and give them that space where, here, you can be the queen if you like to be.
Yeah, it's interesting because, a lot of guys come to me and say, how do I get my partner to be more like you? And then I have a lot of girls that want guys like Grant, and so I have, in my book, I go over it a lot. One of the key things that I go over is like, several things actually, but one of them is, one of the biggest epiphanies I had was when a friend actually had me write down all the things, the whole list of the thing that I wanted in a man, right? So this was years ago. This is actually what got me to find Grant or us to come together. I wrote down this over 100 items on this list, and and I had never wanted to be married or have kids. I think not because I was just I just thought I would have failure in that area as a mother and as a wife. And again, I had such deep-rooted seats of never depend on a man, that I thought I had to do it all on my own. And that's the big myth of life. You can't do it on your own. You can only get so high on your own, period. And if you want to go higher, you need someone, a partner, a life partner, and a whole team to actually push you to a heightened level of success. So I wrote down these 100 lists. And I was with this group of women who, I didn't at the time hang out with a lot of girls, so it felt uncomfortable. I'm like, oh God, now we have to write this dumb list. But I participated. But when I wrote the list, I thought, wow, if this guy that I wrote actually existed, I can see myself being with one person for the rest of my life. But, I mean, does this person really exist? And then the next light bulb that went off was, well, this person that I wrote, if he did exist, what would he be writing down on his list? Who is his ideal woman? And so I started writing all the things that he would want. Monogamy, which I didn't have an issue with that at the time, but, drug-free, alcohol-free, or like, not, excessive alcohol, like, you know, would want to be in a relationship, would want to be a mother, would be a good mother, would want, you know what I'm saying? I wrote down all these things and I looked at my life, and at that time, 20 years ago, I wasn't there. I wasn't like wanting to be a mother. I wasn't wanting to be this person, but I thought, this guy is never going to find me in the state that I'm in right now because he's looking for that woman and I'm not that woman.
Yeah.
You know, he would want someone who was going to take care of themselves and work out and look good and, you know, and continue to grow and learn and self-enhance. And so at that point, I saw where I was at and where I was lacking. And I just went on this mission to, how do I get myself up to a place where I could actually have and be that woman of comparable magnitude to the man that I thought I wanted and deserved in life. And immediately after I did that, me and Grant popped into my life. There's a whole other story about how I rejected him because I forgot to mention the first two items on my list. I wrote 6'2" and green eyes. And he had every single item on the list except 6'2" and green eyes. So I learned from that. I could have just put handsome and, you know, whatever. Or someone, you know, I only put 6'2" because so many guys that I had dated didn't like how tall I was with heels. So I was like, okay, fine, that solution to that 6'2". But rather than 6'2", I could have just said somebody who likes and accepts my height, you know. Anyway, second, so that's the one note. And the second note I would say is, this is very big. If you're in a relationship now, and you're doing your own goals, right? You have your own goals in this column. Like a lot of men and a lot of driven women have their entrepreneurial spirit, and you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do no matter what, and that's fine. But doesn't every person want to be included in that thing? If they feel like you're just gonna do your thing no matter what, and you're not including them, that doesn't feel good after a long period of time. So what I do is I have people write, like in this column here, like my goals, and then the couple's goals. What is your couple's goals? Where are you together? Are you the fighting couple? Are you the inspirational couple? Are you the model? What are you? Do you want to restore the family dynamic to the planet? Like that's our goals. Like we're trying to restore that unit. And then I have Grant's goals over here. And so we have our three categories, but we're clear as to who we are. And so everything that I do in my goals should make me better to support the couple's goals, because we know we're stronger together than apart. So it's about finding a way to include your partner, to work in a coordinated, collaborated effort to reach a heightened level of success, to help each other achieve their goals and their dreams. It's not just you're doing it alone. Like, it's us. It's the power of two. It's, you know, if we have
Elena,
time, I can tell you my horse story.
Elena.
Yeah.
So yeah, enjoy the tea there. Is that tea or coffee?
It's tea. I don't drink coffee.
Okay. You don't need it. So I wanted to break it down a little bit what you answered, because I also want Alex to share, because he's in a similar mission along with his new relationship, which is also pretty juicy. But the fact that I myself, I'm single, and I can tell you the world of singles is mostly about people just saying, here's my list and here's what I'm doing for myself. Very few people talk about partnership or actually being curious about what does the other person want? What are they up to? No wonder there's so many miserable people, depressed. So it's amazing. But you seem to have a special true north, I would say, that always brings you back to how things really will work for everyone, as opposed to you just being stubbornly believing in something. You're like, wait a minute, I know this is not working for me. How do you do that?
Wait, what do you mean? How do I get them?
Well, you came to a realization about, you know, like you can't keep going saying, I don't need no man.
Right.
Because there's a whole...
How did I get to that point? Well, in 2008, when the economy collapsed, we were under a lawsuit. We were on the verge of losing everything financially. I was pregnant with our first child. We had already been married 4-ish years at that time, 5 years. I was confronted with, you know, what are we going to do? Like, you know, I can't continue to do this on my own. Like, I need to it just became to a breaking point where I was like, I'm either going to help this man and we're going to build something together, or I don't know if we're going to survive this, you know? So that was one of the moments that shifted my life in that direction. But you're right about people talking about, here's my list and what are you going to do for me, rather than who are we as a couple, where are our goals, understanding certain fundamentals. Like I've learned along the way. I've been married almost I think we just had our 18-year anniversary, but we've been together almost 20. So I've learned along the way. I have the stat in the area. You know, for me, when I first got married, I thought love was, you know, you're just in love with somebody, you get married, you stay monogamous, and that's the relationship. I did not know there was anything other than that after that. As I've evolved, I've learned what love means to me. Love is, I think the greatest act of love you can give somebody is to help them achieve their goals and their dreams. And when Grant does that for me, I love him more and I'm more fortified to him. And when I do that for him, he loves me more and he is more, you know, we trust each other. Because I also say, find the one you trust and build an empire. So it's just about coming together over a long period of time. Again, I've done so many courses. I've done marriage courses. I've done how to rear happy, successful children. I've done all these courses, you know, and a lot of this applied material comes out of the courses that I've done. Like, lastly, I'll just share one of the big handles for the person that comes to you with the list and says, what are you going to do for me? There's actually something that's called a wants and needs list. So I don't have a problem with you writing your wants and needs. Get very specific. Y'all should probably do this up front in the relationship, because a lot of relationships go into the relationship and you assume that a person's going to change, or then you discover that they don't want a family or they don't want children, or then you're in this relationship and then obviously the mission vision is so different, then yes, you have to sever the ties. But in the beginning, if you were like, okay, this is my vision, Grant and I did this in the very beginning, and we continue to do this as we evolve. Wants and needs. Like Grant wanted a relationship. He wanted children. So all of this is written out, and he shows me his list. I show him my list. And then it's, what are you willing to produce? Are you willing to produce that for the other person? So now I have a guideline as to how the relationship is supposed to work. Like, he wants, you know, a woman who's going to cook a meal for him. Like, does that really bother me? Can I give him and cook him a meal? Or am I like, is that an adamant no? He wants children. Can I have children? Yeah, I can have children. I want children. You know what I'm saying? So we're on the same path. We exchange the wants and needs.
And I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's face it. I mean, in relationship and in business, two sides or partners or, you know, an LLC may not agree on everything, right? But you got to find that place of alignment, like that middle ground where you both say, you know what, that is the direction we're going and we're aligned on it. You know, that's one thing I did in my new relationship is I really got, okay, what is she looking for? What am I looking for? What are we aligned on? What can we agree on? What's that north that we can both follow? I did that with my business partner and years ago, and that's what launched our company and had it be exponential. I've done that with Mario recently on a new venture we're working on. And that really, I think what you're saying is like that middle ground, like what can we all agree to? What can we all move forward towards? And that's really important.
I agree. It's about coming up with agreements, negotiations. It's really a business, you know. Grant and I always call it's the business of marriage, you know, and it's about keeping and honoring your agreements, and it takes the mystery out of, you know, the mystery that leads to confusion, not the mystery that leads to excitement and surprises and the create on the marriage, because you need that part too. But I mean the mystery of like not knowing and not even knowing how to address certain things, you know, because confusion leads to failure. And if you're not confused in your relationship and y'all are going towards the same purpose and share the same core values, you know, yes, there will be challenges along the way, but it makes it easy when you're both playing by the same rules and in the same game and on the same page.
Alex, did you want to share a little bit about your process you have?
Which one?
Love
The love
thing?
thing? The love thing?
Yeah.
Sure. So my girlfriend and I, after, we both came from 10-year divorces. We got divorced at the same time, basically, the same within the same couple of months. And she has a daughter, 13 years old. I have a daughter, 9 and 11. And so we had separate apartments, but we were like weekend warriors getting together, because I would take care of the kids and then she would take care of her daughter, and then we could get together when we didn't have the kids. Then eventually we started bringing the kids together. But the point is, we were away from each other a lot. So we had to create a tool to stay in alignment, right? To keep the communication going, to keep the connection going. So we developed our own little form, our own little app, where I would send her a message and say, here's all the things I'm grateful for you today. And I would list them all out. And then I would put like a song that I would send to her, a photo I would send to her. And then I would talk about communication opportunities, like things that we weren't saying to each other that we needed to talk about, that we could talk about at some point, but just kind of lay it all out. And then be generous, be responsible, be listening to the other person. And that solved a lot for us and brought us together and kept the connection tight. We still use this today. And now we've got this giant journal of all of these, beautiful entries, but it's keeping us in alignment, right? Like it's keeping us connected on the path. Without that, I don't know how it would go, right? But now we've just moved in together, so we have all 3 kids in the same house together, and we continue to practice this, and it's really brought us together.
I love that. Like, it's a create on the relationship, and everyone says that this isn't this is quite the no-brainer, but you know how important communication is to any relationship. So the fact that you did that and are continuing to do that is gonna be successful for you.
Okay, so let's move on. But relationships, like, really, that's like the core of everything. Having effective relationships of all levels, of all kinds. But let's talk about you and your relationship with real estate, what you're building, how fast you've been growing. Tell us all about that.
Okay, so I joined eXp Realty as a realtor about 14 months ago. I really saw this platform as an opportunity to bring my superheroism to the thousands or to the millions or whatever I can actually expand out to. But I've always been, and my superhero is the woman beside the man, however you want to phrase that. I've brought in infrastructure, mindset, and support. Support, show active interest in the success of. So with this model, I just felt like it blended into what we're doing here at this organization, where everything that Grant does is about getting somebody to have financial, eventually legacy, but for sure financial stability and financial freedom at best before financial legacy. But so this model with eXp has these 2 component parts. In addition to an earned income, it has this sort of like a passive income or a leveraged income where you can actually have equity ownership in the company if you've achieved certain basic milestones in the company. And then I love the model where when you bring somebody in who's also a producer, eXp pays you on those transactions until they cap out, and they do that for a 7-layer deep person. So you have this big tree of this organization of people that you can grow around the world. We're open in 22 countries. So this is where I saw, and both of these opportunities are willable. So this means, something, there's a lot of single moms in real estate.
Yeah.
If something happens to them and they can't earn a commission and they, unfortunately die or something happens to them, these other 2 buckets, I call them, the equity ownership with the stocks and the revenue share portion, can actually be willable to their children. That's true financial legacy. So I've built up around the world. I have 722 people that have joined my organization. I've built a huge online platform for us to support each other. I have training and I do support calls, every weekly support calls. And really integrate the mindset of what it took for Grant and I to actually think in orders of magnitude with the systems that it took to get there. So I have all of our organization have access to all of that. And of course I support them. I show active interest in the success of them. I want to be the most successful, the largest, most successful real estate team on the planet. So I have my work cut out for me. But this was an opportunity for me to have my spiritual legacy play, which is I not only want to be the woman behind the man, but I want to be the woman behind the thousands in creating their wealth through real estate. So that's why I became a realtor, and that's why I've done my own 10 transactions, capped on my first deal, because I need to show other people that I'm not just an influencer, which I am, and that will make certain aspects of what I do easier, but being starting out rock bottom as a new agent has really been able to allow me to now put a program together so that I can have a new agent just like me be able to take the exact steps that I've taken to actually get myself in a position to where I can somewhat feel and have a little bit of confidence in this area, because it's really not easy being a realtor. You pass that test, it was very hard, and then it's like, now what? So I'm doing it myself, because I'll never ask somebody else to do something I'm not willing to do myself. And but at the same time, I want to be able to demand and hold accountable my team, because I want us to be competent and have excellence so we can all reach heightened levels of success together. That's what love is, remember?
Yes.
For me.
Yes.
That seems like a perfect match. I mean, with the background that you have, and then inspiring all these people to take action, but then you're actually putting yourself through it too. And I can attest to how difficult real estate is, because my mom, that's how she worked and supported me and my brother. She was a single mom, and she did real estate. She came from Romania with nothing. You started working in a factory, and then got into rental real estate, then residential real estate, and then eventually retired off of real estate. But then like technology hit, and she was struggling with all that. And that's when I came in and started helping her. But I saw the struggle that she had, like just taking the test for weeks. She would be like crying, literally crying, like, I can't do this, Alex. And I would help her study and stuff like that. And then continuing education, like every 2 years would be like on her shoulder, like, here it comes again. I got to do this again. But she loved being with people. Like, I think there's so many people out there that love being with people, love doing the business of real estate, but they don't necessarily understand the business of real estate and understand everything behind it. They don't have the inspiration. I got to say, there's a lot of managers out there that are kind of in their offices. They're not out with people. They're not doing it themselves. They're like, yeah, go out there and do it. And it's like, but you're actually doing it and inspiring, which is huge.
Thank you.
So what would you say is the perfect recipe or the mix of somebody to join your team?
The perfect recipe is somebody who really is looking to self-enhance. They're not looking for something to be given to them and expecting it, but they're willing to put in time, energy, sometimes money, to self-enhance, to get themselves in a place where they can earn and have that stat that nobody else can take away from them, So anybody who's basically 10X, who, doesn't have to be perfect. You can have failed at this before, but if you want to come in and jump into an environment that's going to support you, have positive energy, but also be willing to take actions and the doingness of what it takes to become who you want to be, this is the group that's going to help you and push you and be there for you, and then celebrate with you when you actually start to win and succeed in life. Because it's just, if you apply it and you do it, the outcome is success every single time. That is the formula.
You're describing some of the people we want to hire.
Yeah, and I've been really fortunate, and I've picked some incredible generals, I call them, my generals, and they believe and they trusted in me when I came to them day one and said, look, you're not coming to me because I am a realtor and know what I'm doing. I will take your lead on that. You've only been in the business 20 years, so that's not why you're coming to me. But why you're coming to me is because I believe in you. I'm going to help you reach your goals. I'm going to provide you the access and the resources to get there, and not quit until we win together as a team. Better together than apart. I want to expand
What are your
my
thoughts?
empire. What's that?
I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on hustle culture versus just doing what you got to do, but you're enjoying the process, as opposed to just hustle, make the money. What are your thoughts on that?
And rather than enjoy the process?
Uh-huh.
You said? I have a couple different viewpoints on that. You know, I don't say hustle just to stay busy. Like, I don't believe in these don't sleep, work yourself to death. Like, I believe that you need to take care of yourself and take your vitamins and get your rest. And yes, I believe you should hustle and get your money right, because we live on an economic planet. Now, when I'm doing the work and I'm following my passion, like, that is what excites me. That I do enjoy that. There's part of it that I don't enjoy, but that's why I don't like this, you know, concept of do what you love and the money will follow. Because even though in the process I'm doing what I love, you know, I don't always love everything that comes with those aspects of it, which can be confusing to people. So to me, I'm like, you know, first of all, there's so few and far between who are really hustle, and who are really taking 10x action levels. I don't really feel like it applies to a lot of people, because I feel like a lot of people, even when they get one little success, are ready to go take off and party and vacation, and and you can do that. It's just,
You're talking about some of our current employees right now.
To me, it's like, I know what I want to do on this planet, and my purpose is so big. We want to reach 8 billion people. You know, I want to restore the family dynamic. Grant wants to have financial freedom for the planet, right? And when you think that big and that massive, do I have time, and do I feel good when I'm sitting on a beach for 10 days drinking drinks with my girlfriends? Like, no, because time is running out. I already have an impossible target. You know what I'm saying? I already have an impossible mission. Every free moment of mine goes into that, because that is senior to me wanting to just have this idea of what I think fun is. That's so you have to look at it for yourself. I'm not going to judge anybody else for if they hustle or don't hustle. It's just, don't come to me and say, how do I become a billionaire, and how do I have impact? And then I tell you what it takes to actually do that. Like, get your purpose so big, like, have it be so important that nothing else matters except for that. And then if they say no, then I'm going to say, okay, then be happy with where you're at, because you're going to get more of where you're at. Like, I just can tell people what it took for us and where our purpose and our drive comes from. Because for me, I'm not going for money anymore, even though my money target is several billion, not just one. It's several billion because I want to get other people's attention, and I want to get other people thinking that that's not a big deal, to get them big enough in the mindset to go for it and to hit it. You know what I'm saying? But my legacy play at this point, I'm on a spiritual legacy play at this point. So I want to change the world. I'm crazy enough to think maybe if I apply myself just a little bit, I can have somewhat of an impact. So for me, the reward comes from, if I have to sacrifice and do hustle, where sometimes life feels like, why am I doing this? Then I have an event, you know, where I change somebody's life and they're crying in my arms, and I'm like, this is why. That is my spiritual deposits in my spiritual bank account that no money can fulfill, and no party on a beach can do for me. That is what I know to be true for me.
That's brilliant. Alex, do you want to add something? Because I
mean, I know this is what Mario and I talk about all the time, and it's like that's really what matters, right? I mean, it's the conversations we have within the company. It's not the dollar signs, but we hustle because we're up to big things, and like, I'm addicted to taking action. So it's, for me, it's like when I sit on the beach, it's like that's self-destructive for me.
Me too.
It's like I can't take it. I'll either go full binge, you know, and just destruct, or it's like I need to get back and take action.
Right, right. And usually I find that the people that want you to do that want you to self-destruct. You know,
This is true.
because you're challenging in them what they haven't discovered. They haven't discovered a purpose that big in themselves, or they feel if you become bigger, then they can't, then it makes them even smaller. They have all these warped ideas, whether they know it consciously or subconsciously doesn't matter. That's what they're trying to get you to do, because if they can keep you down, then they can make sense for themselves of them staying themselves small.
Yeah,
And I just kind
comfortable.
of learned a long time ago that I'm just doing me, and Grant's just doing Grant, and we're just doing our life, and anybody else who resonates with us, you know, I get it, because we are the outcast. We are not normal. The world is normal, and the world settles for normal concepts of how relationships are supposed to be, or how, you know, enjoying and over drinking on a beach is supposed to make you like somehow balanced and happy. You know, I throw out that I am not normal. I've accepted that I'm not normal, and I'm okay with that. I'm creating my own life. And I'm just doing me. I'm
You know,
done.
you know,
I'm trying to fit in. I don't fit in.
Me either. It's like the crazy 1%. You know, it's like once I
Yeah.
realize I'm part of the
Call
crazy
me,
1%, I'm like, all
label
right,
me
you know, that's who I am.
ADD, label me ADD. That's right. I do have attention deficit disorder. I do not care what you are telling me. Okay. I have 20 windows open. I can concentrate on all 20. But for you, you're right. I have ADD because you do not interest me. Bye. You know what I'm
but
saying? Label me, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm obsessed. I embrace
what
it.
this brings me to this little philosophical question, because I do a lot of research on technology. We're a technology company, which I'm going to ask you about shortly. But all this talk about AI taking over, they even have this theory idea that in 20 years or less, AI will replace us because it'll just know everything, even be self-driven. It'll have its own, what is it called, of self-awareness. But when you talk about your mission, you said this at this point, this is a spiritual mission. It's not just about the money. Tell us about this whole spiritual side, or really like the whole point of even your existence, the spiritual side. What is that all about?
The spiritual side for me is, you know, in 2008, when we were on the verge of losing it all, Grant and I were forced to be greedy. We were forced to think only about ourselves. My only purpose at that time was to survive and not lose it all. I didn't care about you, your family, nothing. I understood that I could only be greedy, think about myself. But we did make a vow. Grant and I made a vow to each other at that time, to people from Louisiana. You know, I never went to college. He's, you know, been through his fair share of, you know, not easy street. We made a vow that if we ever were to make it, we were going to help all the other little me's, just like the two of us. So we were okay with being on that greedy mission. Then as we've evolved through the years, and now like we've quote unquote made it, even though we haven't hit all of our targets, we have hit certain milestones and statistics where we do have to acknowledge that. And
Yes.
whether you like us or Grant's delivery, nobody can take our stats away from us. They are what they are.
Yep.
So out of learning out of that, you know, then I realized it's not just about me. You know, even before Grant and with Grant, I was always just me, self, me, one dynamic, if you will. Now I have awareness. There's more than just a one dynamic. There's a second dynamic. Again, this comes from LRH. I didn't mean to bring this up again, but you brought it up, and that is who I told you is my spiritual mentor. So there's a second dynamic. The second dynamic is the family dynamic. How well do you survive through your family? Like that is your survival, right? There's first self, second family, third is the group. You two are in a group, right? Everyone in this office, we're a part of a group. If I was in a tennis club, that's my group. My church is my group, the group, right? How well do I survive through my group? How well is this organization in my office? How well are the members here surviving? Are they doing well? I want my group to do well. When you hang out with Grant and I, you should be doing well in life. If you're not doing better, something is wrong with you or me or us, but I don't tolerate like people in our group not doing well. Okay, so now you can see how we've expanded. This correlates with our spiritual side. Now there's fourth dynamic, which is all of mankind. How well are we surviving across the planet? And when I look at that and I see wars and this and that and slavery and, you know, all the things, I'm like, we are not surviving well. How do we get out and really touch the lives of and make people around the globe take responsibility for us as a race, as a humanity? How can we lift it up? I don't feel like we're doing well on that area. So Grant and I have really tried to be global. I'm trying to go global. EXP, we're open in 22 countries, gives me an opportunity to reach people across the globe and, like, you know, have us each take responsibility for mankind. You see, I never thought this big before. After that, there's 8 dynamics. Are you happy with just the 4, or do you want to hear the rest?
Let's keep going.
Okay, so after the 4th dynamic, then you have the 5th dynamic. The 5th dynamic is all living things that aren't human. So that's your animals, your pets, the fish, the oceans, you know, and there's people that are taking responsibility for how well that environment's doing. But like your pets, are they in a good condition, a bad condition? Like, you know, that's that dynamic, okay? After that dynamic is all things that are not living. So we call it MEST for short. It stands for matter, like this is matter, right? Matter, energy, space, and time, MEST. How well are your things around you surviving? What is the condition of your car? Is it all dinged up? What's the condition of your home? Mine just had mold. I had to go redo and tear out all the mold. I'm not living in that. I'm not going to survive well in my 6th dynamic. If my house has got mold, it's going to kill me. You know, I have to treat my mess, the things around me. Like, what is the condition? When you look at my plane, is it alive? Is it healthy? When you look at, you know, you look in a crack addict's home and it's just stuff and clutter and disgusting, you can see the condition of their environment and their spiritual well-being, right? After the 6th, then you have 7th, which is spirit, right? You're a spirit, she's a spirit. How well are we doing as spiritual beings? Just even the awareness of you as a spiritual being. So that's spiritual. Right. The 8th dynamic is called infinity, and it's represented by that infinity sign with the 8 on the sideways. It's infinity. It's how well are you surviving through the existence of time. It's also called the God dynamic. So it's God to you. It's eternity. It's how well are you living along those lines? So for me, again, like, Scientology isn't going to tell you what to believe in. They're saying what's true for you is true for you. It's not faith-based. This is why the Catholic Church has never kicked me out, because I practice Scientology, and why Scientology is non-denominational, because they're never going to tell you what to believe. So they're never going to tell you that your religion is bad or wrong or anything, because it's non-denominational. We're not faith-based. So for me, and I'm not speaking on behalf of any other Scientologist, but for me, I have a realization that you may kill this body, right? Yes. But I have a reality that I am a spiritual being, and me gets to come with me through time. So I'm very interested in me evolving and setting myself up for a future that's going to be of a good condition long term, you know? So when you think like that, I'm thinking not just this lifetime. I'm thinking, how do I do many lifetimes? Or, you know, if I choose to believe in heaven, and how well am I going to exist in heaven throughout time? So that's where my spiritual legacy and my spiritual awareness and drive comes from. Basically, essentially, those 8 dynamics.
It's amazing. I can see how that can drive you.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's big, right?
It's huge.
By the way, if anyone is interested in anything that I've said, or a little course on a marriage course or a confidence course, you can go to elenacardone.com /help and take one of those little free courses, or I don't know, it might be $25, but I think they're mostly free. There's a couple of them on there if you're interested. But if not, I am not the spokesperson. I'm just telling you because you asked what has been successful and what works for me and why I am the way that I am today.
That's what I realized with you, Elena. This is so awesome. I'm gonna say for now, you're our best guest ever so far.
Woo!
Okay.
I love. You know, I like winning. I like stats. I like being number one. Thank you.
Because I feel like we can ask you about anything and you will just openly say it. Like, how's your sex life?
Very good. You know, I told Grant, and this is a true story. I told Grant, you know, I don't know, this might make me sound dudeish or whatever. I don't know. But I was like, look, when we get, like, we did our needs and wants list. And I'm like, look, dude, if you are going to be the only person that I am doing this activity with, like, this one component can never go bad because there's no other option if we're going to be in a monogamous relationship together. And I'm not interested in getting in a relationship where I don't feel liked, desired, or like I'm a nun or Mother Teresa or whatever. That is not my jam. This is love. You're the only person I'm doing that with. Like, this cannot go bad. If this goes bad for any other reason than like an accident or an illness or something like that, if this goes bad just because this goes bad, that is a means for divorce for us. Are you good with that? Because I don't want to cheat on you. I don't want to hate myself for doing something like that. And I know that I could do that if that falls apart because you're the only one that I have to express that love with. And if that love isn't expressed in that way, I need to go have love with somebody else. I'm not going through this life without a love partner. And so that was set up front. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's crazy because it's hard to explain unless you go through it, you know, but, you know, before I was with Grant, I used to like think I had to have all these things, you know, to like make sex interesting, you know, whether it was dressing up or whatever, you know, all those kind of things, or looking at other pictures or doing, you know, because I never had what that real love thing was, partly because before Grant, I never allowed myself to really open up or really even feel on that level, because remember, I always had never depend on a man for anything. So how can you have that and let a man in, you know? So once I was with Grant and I was like, you know what, here it is, like, you know, here's my heart, here's everything. I just realized I don't need all these other things to like make something special. It's like, it's just is, and it fulfills me, and it's just, there's no void, and it's just, you know, we're not hanging from chandeliers, and I'm happy about that. I mean, because what we have is so profound and special and passionate. I don't need like, you know, something that I thought that I had to have in order for sex to be interesting and fun. It just is without effort. It's just fulfilling and exciting and always feels like a new experience, which is what blows Grant and my mind like almost every single time, because we're like, how is it that it's like different every single time? It's just weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I can relate to that.
I've never experienced that before, you know, and, you know, I'm not going to say I had a lot of lovers, but I had more than one before Grant, you know, and I never had that. So it's just cool. Like, part of me, like, even if I have thought about cheating, because I have, you know, because you go through 19 or 20 years with somebody and you go through the ups and downs, and, you know, there's hot guy over here who thinks you're hot too. And then your mind goes, well, I'm having fights with him. He looks good. But anytime I've even thought that for a second, I'm like, I think I would be so disappointed if I had sex with somebody else, because I don't think they would be as good as Grant. You know, and it just kind of puts me in check right away, you know, because I'm like, no, I'm not going to ruin it because it wouldn't even be as good.
Yeah, I get it. It's like the relationship I'm in now with Valeria. I remember as you were speaking, it got me present to when I called my dad and I'm like, Dad, for the first time in my life, I can just be with this person, like just present and like fulfilled and complete. And it's like wide open. And yeah, every experience is new. It's like we're discovering this world together. But you know, and I can take responsibility that I didn't have that before because I had closed myself off to intimacy.
Right.
You know, so it's like even my ex-wife could never possibly have that with me because that would never be allowed for me.
Right.
And now I have this new place where I'm at, where I'm just like wide open, and it's like, all right, let's go.
Exactly.
This is wonderful. We're almost reaching our end of our time together, Elena. I mean, I'm just overjoyed. I can tell you we're just going to love to continue to share with you in the future. We have a huge body of people that were just so excited about you coming to talk to us. Did you want to share anything else with us? Any things that people should know, should follow, should learn from you?
Well, I mean, yeah, if anyone is interested in joining my team and coming on board, you can go to join.exprealty.com, put me as your sponsor, and then you're in, and it will be very exciting to work with you. And then lastly, if you want my book for free, where you just pay shipping, you can go to ElenaCardone.com/empire. I'm like looking at them, right? ElenaCardone.com/empire. So, oh, also, I mean, Grant's always like, don't tell them to do too many things, and or they'll do nothing. But if you're a realtor out there, you don't want to join the team, but you want to hear what I tell my organization and who I have on every Tuesday, you want to be a part of that support. You need it, you're not getting it, or you just need extra, you're invited to come hear that from us. We don't close the doors, especially in the shifting market. Some people need a little extra help. So if you want to come listen into that support call that I do every Tuesday, you can go to ElenaCardone.com/support. Okay, that's about it.
Thank you so much.
I want to add one thing because the synchronicity was crazy. Is last week or about 10 days ago, we were both at Inman in Las Vegas, right?
Oh, no, you were there.
Yeah, we were there. We had a booth and everything. And Mario at what, 6 in the morning? Six in the morning, he's at Starbucks and he's conducting what we call a team huddle, where we just connect with our team.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, Mario, I'm putting the pieces together. I feel like such a dumb, oh my God. I can't believe that's you, of course. I kept saying, why does this guy look so familiar to me?
So imagine my team is all on the call and Mario's like, I think I just saw Elena Cardone at Starbucks. I'm here at Starbucks. So he goes over to talk to you. Apparently you bought him breakfast. And then you came and a coffee and a juice, probably because this guy likes multiple liquids. And then you came and spoke to our team, and they were super inspired. And that huddle, just so you know what that is, that's something we created that, you know, I'm sure you have something like this in your organization too, where people just connect and we don't really talk about work. We're just checking in on, like you said, that level of group and community. Like, how are you doing? Because if you're not doing good, we want to know about it. Right. And Mario leads that every Thursday, and it's amazing. The magic, like people quit smoking cigarettes. They like throw away their cigarettes on that call. They like take on new projects. They take on their life basically, and they're learning amazing things. But that's like what we feel is missing in company culture a lot, is this element of like, well, we actually care about each other here. Hey, like, did we forget about that? We have to care about each other too, not just show up for work and do the tasks that are assigned to us. Yeah,
exactly.
So thanks for stopping in on that. The team loved that.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was a fun morning. Yes.
Sure was. Well, thank you very much. See you soon.